CIET NCERT presents Ramanujan and Hardy collaboration in mathematics.
In the previous episode, you listened to the struggles in the life of an aspiring genius in mathematics. In this episode, we will narrate the unique collaboration of two contrasting mathematicians. One was Srinivas Ramanujan, a poor South Indian Brahmin, deeply religious man, self-taught original mathematician, and working as an ordinary clerk in a port trust. And the other was Godfrey Harold Hardy, an aristocratic British, atheist, charismatic, and eccentric dawn of mathematics in the world-famous University of Cambridge. However, the two couldn't have been more different. Hardy was an apostle of proof, strict adherent to mathematical rigor. Ramanujan relied very strongly on his intuition. This was a period of transition from late 19th century to early 20th century in both Oriental India and colonial England.
Having seen a copy of 1910 book Orders of Infinity by G.H. Hardy in January 1913, Ramanujan, an obscure accounts clerk, wrote a letter to him. Professor Hardy received a letter with Indian postal stamps along with a pile of letters he received every day.
This is not the first time G.H. Hardy, one of the elitist academicians of his times, 10 years older than Ramanujan, had received letters from strangers. In his 10-page letter that included the long list of unproved theorems, he wrote,
Dear Sir, I beg to introduce myself to you as a clerk in the accounts department of the Port Trust office at Madras on a salary only £20 per annum. I am now about 23 years of age. I have had no university education, but I have undergone the ordinary school course. After leaving school, I have been employing the spare time at my disposal to work at mathematics. I have not trodden through the conventional regular course, which is followed in a university course, but I am striking out a new path for myself. I have made a special investigation of divergent series in general, and the results I get are termed by the local mathematicians as startling. He further writes, I would request you to go through the enclosed papers. So he has enclosed some papers. Being poor, if you are convinced that there is anything of value, I would like to have my theorems published. I have not given the actual investigations nor the expressions that I get, but I have indicated the lines on which I proceed. Very well, very well. Being inexperienced, I would very highly value any advice you give me, requesting to be excused for the trouble I give you. I remain yours very sincerely, S. Ramanujan.
Hardy skipped to the end of the letter, the author's name, and then went back and read the rest. However, during the day, as Hardy went on his routine job of lectures and guiding research students in the college, the theorems mentioned in Ramanujan's paper haunted him. To have a second opinion, he also called his brilliant mathematician friend and colleague John Edensor. On 8 February 1913, he replied to Ramanujan,
I was exceedingly interested by your letter and by the theorems which you state. You will, however, understand that before I can judge properly of the value of what you have done, it is essential that I should see proofs of some of your assertions. Your results seem to me to fall into roughly 3 classes. 1. There are a number of results that are already known or easily deducible from the known theorems. 2. There are results which, so far as I know, are new and interesting, but interesting rather from their curiosity and apparent difficulty than their importance. And 3. There are results which appear to be new and important.
Ramanujan was delighted with Hardy's reply, and his prompt response was,
I have found a friend in you who views my labors sympathetically. I am already a half-starving man. To preserve my brain, I want food. And this is my first consideration. Any sympathetic letter from you will be helpful to me here to get a scholarship, either from the university or from the government.
Then Eric Harold Neville, colleague of G.H. Hardy at Cambridge, approached Ramanujan.
My dear Ramanujan, on behalf of Professor Hardy, I request you to come to Cambridge. Don't you yourself feel that your talent is not properly nurtured here? And you're not getting the respect that you truly deserve?
Not for honor, but for my progress in mathematics, I must go to Cambridge. I do feel the same.
Then what is the obstacle, Ramanujan?
My parents are Orthodox Brahmins. They are opposed to the idea that I should go to a foreign land crossing the sea. My mother thinks I will convert. I will change my religion.
But you are firm in your religion. I know that for sure.
For me, my mother's will is paramount. If only my mother gives permission, I will definitely come. I will, of course, try to convince her.
On 17th of March 1914, a blessed Ramanujan boarded the ship SS Nivasa.
That's them leaving.
After a month's tiring journey of 9,650 km, Ramanujan arrived in London on 14th April 1914. Professor E. H. Neville was waiting for him with a car. Four days later, Neville took him to his house on Chesterton Road in Cambridge. After 2 weeks, he moved to Trinity College. Among the colleges of Cambridge University, Trinity College was the largest with most lustrous heritage. Alumni of this elitist university of the world included such as scientist Isaac Newton, poet Alfred Tennyson, historian George Macaulay, physicist Ernest Rutherford, writer David Herbert Lawrence, and philosopher Bertrand Russell.
The limitations of his knowledge were as startling as its profundity. Here was a man who could work out modular equations and theorems to orders unheard of, whose mastery of continued fractions was beyond that of any mathematician in the world.
Ramanujan was at the height of his mathematical powers, the zenith of his fame. He could remember the idiosyncrasies of the numbers almost in an uncanny way. Every positive integer was Ramanujan's friend. Right from the start, Ramanujan's collaboration with Hardy led to important mathematical discoveries. They studied the partition function extensively and gave exact computation of the number of partitions of an integer. This resulted in a very astonishing theorem.
Climate and lifestyle of England was not suitable for Ramanujan. One morning, in chill weather of London, shivering with cold, he went to Hardy's room. When he took his coat off, lentils fell from the lining.
Ramanujan, are you sure you're all right? What are these?
Oh no, lentils.
Lentils? For what?
For the rasam. It's a sort of vegetarian soup.
Oh,
And this edible seed is called tur dal in India.
two dal.
Yes, tur dal.
Oh.
And this is an ingredient for this soup preparation. You know, I'm a confirmed vegetarian.
Yes.
So I'm cooking my meals myself. As you are strict about your religion of proof, I am also devoted to my religion. I can't compromise.
Well said, Ramanujan.
These lentils are telling something about partitions of prime numbers.
How, Ramanujan? How is it possible?
Okay, let me make my point. How many ways can you divide up to 3 lentils?
What we need to do is look at all possible ways that a number can be expressed as sum of its numbers.
Well, you could see yourself. You could divide them into 3 itself. Or 2 plus 1.
Okay.
Or 1 plus 1 plus 1.
Or 3 of 1 each.
That's
Yeah?
right.
Okay.
So, summing all the possible ways.
3 ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll add 1 more lentil. That gives us 4 lentils.
Okay.
You could divide them into 4 itself,
Yeah.
or 3 plus 1,
3 plus 1
or 2 plus 2, or 2 plus 1 plus 1,
plus 1. Yes.
or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And so many ways in all.
5 ways.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's add another lentil. Giving us 5 lentils. Firstly, 5 itself,
Yes.
or 4 plus 1,
4 plus 1.
or 3 plus 2,
3 plus 2.
or 3 plus 1 plus 1,
Yes.
or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, or 5 of 1 each. And so many ways in all.
This time it is 7 ways. Well, Ramanujan, if we take slightly larger number, say 7 lentils,
Then, let's add 2 more to it, as you say. Then, writing 7 as sum of numbers. 7 itself, or 6 plus 1, or 5 plus 2, or 5 plus 1 plus 1,
yeah.
or 4 plus 3, or 4 plus 2 plus 1, and so on and so forth. So, summing all the possible ways, we get 15 ways in all.
That's really marvelous.
Together, Ramanujan and Hardy gave the principle of partition of numbers. They wanted to calculate the partition of any number, however large it may be. If there are 10 lentils, then 42 ways. And similarly, if there are 20 lentils, then 627 ways. And still big number, 200 lentils, then 3972999029388, or 4 trillion ways in all. Using high-speed computing technology, mathematicians have done this computation with higher powers. And the computer result is 39,729,99029,388.004. If you ignore the fraction and consider only whole number, then the result is without any error. On 16 March 1916, Ramanujan graduated from Cambridge with a BA or Bachelor of Arts by Research. He had been allowed to enroll in June 1914 despite not having the proper qualifications. Ramanujan's dissertation was on highly composite numbers and consisted of 7 of his papers published in England. From 1920 onward, this degree was called a PhD.
He fell seriously ill in 1917. He was suffering from pulmonary tuberculosis and gastric ulcer-related problems. He was lying on bed in a nursing home of London Hospital. His friend and mentor, G.H. Hardy, visited him one day.
Oh, so how are you, my friend?
Well, not very well. Yet I'm extremely grateful and thankful to you
No, not at all.
for sparing time to visit me, my
Not
friend.
at all. Not at all, Ramanujan. Actually, the cab I took to come here today had its number 1729. Not a very interesting number, I think. That seems a rather dull number to me. I hope it isn't an unfavorable omen.
Why, my friend? Because 1729 is a product of 3 odd prime numbers. 7 times 13 times 19. And also divisible by 13, isn't it?
Oh, no.
And you consider this number is unfavorable, isn't it? And so not welcome in your country. Even in the entire Europe, I suspect.
No. Not like that. Not like that.
In fact, sir, it is quite an interesting number.
Interesting? How is that, Ramanujan? How is that?
1729 is a number of 4 digits, you see.
Yes.
And the sum of the digits is 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 9 equals 19.
Yeah.
And 1729 is multiple of 19.
Okay.
And it is the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of 2 cubes in 2 different ways.
2 different ways. Can you explain?
Yes, it is like this. 12 cube, which is 12 times 12 times 12, or 1728.
Yeah.
And 1 cube is 1 times 1 times 1, or 1.
1. Yes.
And summing 1728 and 1,
We get 1729. Yes.
and a bit more of some more maths, if you like.
Yes, of course.
It is also 10 cube is 10 times 10 times 10, or 1000.
1000.
And 9 cube, similarly, is 9 times 9 times 9, or 729. And so, 1000 plus 729 equals 1729.
29. That's really marvelous, Ramanujan. And you are absolutely right.
I say again that this is a series of numbers and can be expressed in 2 different ways as sum of 2 cubes. 1729 being the least. 1729 is also a union of 1 cube and 3 squares. 1729 equals 10 cube plus 25 square plus 10 square and finally plus 2 square.
2 square.
Which equals 100 plus 625 plus 100 plus 4.
4. Yes.
A number which is a multiple of the sum of its digits is called multi-digital addition number, or in short, multi-digital. Since this incidence, 1729 is famous as Ramanujan and Hardy's taxicab number. It is this property that makes some numbers special that mathematicians love. Coincidentally, 1729 is also a Carmichael number, a composite positive integer having a relationship of congruence with all integers relatively to this number. And this number still continues to be strange and special in many countries and cultures. Ramanujan had discovered the special property of 1729 when he was probably a student of matriculation of first arts. It is recorded in his notebook. May 1918, a function was organized in the court of the Royal Society of London.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to confirm that Mr. Srinivasa Ramanujan has been elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of London. Indian mathematician, barely 30 years old, he has made significant contribution in the field of mathematics. He had been proposed by an impressive list of mathematicians, namely Hardy, McMahon, Grace, Lamore, Bromwich, Hobson, Baker, Littlewood, Nicholson, Young, Whittaker, Forsyth and Whitehead.
Congratulations, Ramanujan. You deserve this all.
I am happy for your achievement. Now you are also Srinivasa Ramanujan, FRS.
I am grateful to you all for giving me this incredible honor.
Oh, yeah, you deserved it. You deserved it.
This was a great matter because a black man was elected for the membership of the Royal Society of London. 5 months later, another honor was bestowed on Ramanujan. On 10th of October 1918, he was elected a Fellow of Trinity College, Cambridge. This fellowship of £250 per month was granted for 6 years. The honours seemed to help his health improve a little, and he renewed his efforts at producing mathematics. By the end of November 1918, Professor Hardy wrote a letter to the Vice-Chancellor of Madras University.
I think we may now hope that he has turned the corner and is on the road to a real recovery. His temperature has ceased to be irregular, and he has gained nearly a stone in weight. There has never been any sign of any diminution in his extraordinary mathematical talents. He has produced less naturally during his illness, but the quality has been the same. He'll return to India with a scientific standing and reputation such as no Indian has enjoyed ever before. And I'm confident that India will regard him as the treasure he is. His natural simplicity and modesty has never been affected in the least by success. Indeed, all that is wanted is to get him to realize that he really is a success.
Ramanujan spent nearly 5 years in Cambridge, collaborating with Hardy and Littlewood, and published a part of his findings there. He made significant contributions and was expert on infinite series, continued functions involving pi, golden ratio, and identities. Ramanujan's first research paper published there was Representative Equation and Nearest Value of Pi. Most of us are familiar with the value of pi to 4 decimal places, writing that is 3.1416 or 3.1416. He gave his own formula to calculate the value of pi to 35 decimal place, that is 3.141519653589793238433832795029. Today, mathematicians use high-speed computers to calculate the value of pi up to 17 million places and even up to billion places. Ramanujan created equations expressing beautiful mathematical symmetry. At the end of World War I, Ramanujan sailed to India on 27th of February 1919 and arrived in Bombay on 13th of March. However, his health was very poor. From Bombay, he, his mother, and brother boarded the train to Madras. Madras University gave unprecedented welcome to the son of state who was India's second FRS and the youngest in the history of the society. The first Indian FRS was a shipbuilder, Ardeshir Kersetji, in 1841.
Srinivasa Ramanujan languished in obscurity through a combination of lack of Indian bureaucratic sightedness, superstition, and illness. In the hope of recovery from sickness, he was brought to Chetpur village on the bank of river Kaveri. But his end had come. On 26th April 1920, this great son of India was only 32 years of age when he became unconscious and breathed last. We may feel sympathies for this man and his tragic end, but what he did was marvelous, and his work is a great treasure for future generations of mathematicians. Had he lived more, we do not know how much he would have contributed to the world of mathematics.
Ramanujan and Hardy collaboration in mathematics. Research, script and coordination, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Artists, Rajat Sen Gupta, Sushil Nand, Gaurav Bakshi, Kunal and Manohar Khushlani. Recorded by Batilang Lingdo. Program assistants Vimlesh Chaudhary and Geetika Unyal. Sound editing, production and direction by Ajit Horo. And presented by CIET NCERT.